so last night I was watching a TV show, and it's about a space cruise. These people are on a space cruise that's supposed to be like 8 weeks long, and the trajectory gets off, and so suddenly they're not going to get back for 3 years. And like the very first thing I thought was, oh my God, 3 years. Like I would never have brought enough yarn to be gone that long. Like if I was going to be gone for 8 weeks, I would bring so much yarn. Like I would probably bring 6 months worth of yarn, but 3 years, like if I was stuck any place for 3 years, I would be knitting stuff. And then I would have to like tear it apart and reknit it, to just so I could knit every day still. My mother was the one who urged me to start. She and I have shared lots of hobbies over our lives. Back in the 90s, I got her going on scrapbooking for a while, and then she started knitting, and I was just doing the needlepoint, and she was like, oh, you need to learn how to knit. You have to learn how to knit. And I saw how obsessed with it she was, for lack of a better word, and but she kept saying it, and I said, no, I'm not going to learn. I'm not going to do that because I'll get as obsessed with it as you are. So she finally left me. She brought me a kit. It was a learn to knit a scarf and hat kit, and like within 3 days, it was beginning to like call to me. So I opened it up. That night I taught myself how to cast on and how to do the knit stitch, and that was it. That was, from then on, I was just as obsessed as I expected to become with it. At various times over the next few months, she said, I've had people tell me I should start doing a podcast. She kept saying, I think I want to do this. And I said, that's great. You should totally do a podcast if you want to. And then one day she sent me an email and she said, I really want to do this and I think we should do it. And I finally went, oh, she wants to do it with me. She hadn't said that before. So I called her up and said, yeah, let's absolutely do it. Hi. Hello. This is Tracy.
And this is Barb.
Welcome to episode 203 of the Two Knit Lit Chicks podcast. Thanks for joining us. We're recording in the afternoon, so I am not going to be quite as whiny about it as I usually am.
She's, how she always says, my mom made me podcast.
My mom's making me podcast. She is making me podcast, but I agreed to it. So yes. Anyway, and we're drinking wine, and it's been a really fun project to do with my mom. I have spent more time with her in the last 10 years than I had, probably since I lived in the same house with her when I was growing up. We see each other, we talk a lot, and we see each other at least a couple times a month. We go to knitting retreats and we spend, so we spend days together on those kinds of things. And it's really a very cool kind of thing to share with my mom.
Alrighty, before we get into the knitting, although this is about knitting, a charity called Knitted Knockers.
Okay.
And I'm going to start knitting these things. And what they are breast prosthesis. They're used by cancer patients after a mastectomy. They're knitted in the shape of a breast with cotton yarn. When knitted knockers are placed in the bra, they take the shape and feel of a real breast.
Really?
Yes, and a lot of people use these until they have some type of reconstructive surgery.
My mom is a breast cancer survivor, and we really like knitting for that charity. And actually the retreat that we are involved with is called the Northern California Knitting Retreat, and we figured out early on that the acronym for it could be Knockers, and so we made Knockers the official charity for the Knockers Retreat. And actually the logo for the knitter we had for a while was 2 balls of yarn, and it had 2 balls of yarn, and then it had needles coming in like this, and so it kind of looked like a bra with breasts in it. Whether you're sitting there with someone online or in a pub or whatever, it's what are you knitting? And it's just as social, and that's been a really nice thing for when we are, having to stay away from each other like we are right now.